Greetings, everyone. We are here to respond to your questions and also to briefly clarify the process of applying for a waiver. We are receiving lots of requests from people to assist them to apply for a waiver. I thought it's an easy process. If you want to apply for a waiver, you simply Google the VFS website. Once you Google the VFS website, you will get a page or you'll be directed to a page where you need to then complete the application form and submit. It's an easy process. But like I say, you can ask someone to assist. So many people are sending questions or comments or requests saying, Comrade Mapena, give us the link. I have no link, just Google the VFS website. That's the link that you are looking for and apply for a waiver. We were discussing the interview by the Minister of Home Affairs, and we thought there are comments that he needs us to respond to assist each other. Comrade Fatima Ahmed says, I'm choosing my words carefully. That's what as Africans we ought to do, because we must respect each other, and when we talk, we must show some form of respect, not to insult, but while we show some form of respect, but we must stick to the facts, not to mislead. Comrade Nomfunego Nosilela says, the minister said he was signing waivers every day, not because they give them to everyone, but because Zimbabweans have started taking the process seriously as they realized that the ZEP won't be extended. Also, please explain that getting a waiver successful doesn't mean you are now able to stay. You have to include your waiver in your application for the relevant visa. The ZEP holders have been taking this process seriously. What has been missing all along is that there was no clear clarity on how people of low skill apply. Remember, I did say in one of the videos that we had spoken to the spokesperson of the minister, raised questions with him. He then linked us up with the task team appointed by the minister. We sent our questions to the task team appointed by the minister, assisted by the spokesperson of the minister. We never got any clarity from them. When written to the Director General of Home Affairs on behalf of ZEP holders to seek clarity on how people of low skill apply, again, we didn't get a response. You remember there's a video where we were asking the acting deputy director for immigration on the same process on how to apply. That is for those that are of low skin. He had said we put everything in writing. That was done. But again, there was no response. So people have been taking this process seriously, only that there was no clarity coming from the Department of Home Affairs. Um, you are correct, Comrade Nomfunega, that a waiver is not a permit, because indeed you need to attach the waiver, because you need to indicate in your application that one of the requirements that is needed, you have been given a right or it has been waived, and you provide the proof that indeed it has been waived. So a waiver does not mean you stay. A waiver says you can now apply for a visa of your choice without being limited in terms of the requirements, because that will have been waived. And Comrade Adam says, Mabena encourage people to put their money together and open many closed industries home. Home is the best. Let everyone think about going back home. I think you also remember that we did a video where we're interviewing the leader of the people from Bulilima many of whom are domestic workers that have put together their money and they are drilling boreholes in their communities. They want to do farming. There are others also that have been buying drilling borehole machinery in South Africa, sending back home. We have also seen a number of people, particularly in rural areas, that are contributing to the development of their communities. They are building schools in their communities or renovating classrooms. So indeed, they are putting money together. We get to a point that people should do business together, and this is something that others are also trying to do, to go into business partnership together. The question that arises is, are the conditions favorable for one to run a successful business in Zimbabwe, given also the currency question, which we've discussed previously? You know that you open a foreign bank account, you are told you can you have an account in a commercial bank in Zimbabwe in US dollars. Some months down the line, you are told, it has been converted to Zim currency. That on its own becomes problematic. So people have lost the money. So the question that arises is, are the conditions favorable for people to run businesses? You also know that people bought taxis, combis, to get into the transport industry. And the government then directed everyone that all this must be part of a state-owned entity called ZUPCO. And there were problems, and the government later on abandoned it. So these are issues that are of great concern to those that want to invest in Zimbabwe. But your point is noted, and this is what people try to do. If you Google, there's also a group of women. Their leader, I think, is in the UK. They call themselves Qogi, QOKI, Qogi. It's a business group. They are into properties. They are now getting into other sectors of the economy. Many of them are in the diaspora. So people are indeed putting together money uh, 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 to contribute towards the building of the Zimbabwean economy. Comrade Muchenungwa Susan, thank you for your comment. And then Comrade Ultimate Messenger says, others, they don't have proper names. Say, hi, Mr. Mapena. It looks like after getting the waiver, on submission for a general work visa, applicants will still have to submit, amongst other things, the following: more undertakings from employer, with one saying the employer will finance deportation, employer's company registration certificate, Zimbabwe police clearance, doctor's report, and the radiology report. Some employers will definitely be scared to commit. I'm not sure about the deportation part. I've not seen that. I've seen the rest. Of course, the rest is the requirement. But I've not seen the deportation part, because our understanding is that if you are a holder of ZEP, the deadline is on the 30th of June. If you are not successful in your application, indeed, you need to relocate. And the South African government did announce that if you fail to relocate, whether back to Zimbabwe or anywhere, they will then assist you. That is, they will deport you. So I missed the part where companies are now asked to commit that they will finance deportation of a person. We'll certainly have to follow on that one. But it's my first time to hear this. And then Comrade African Queen says, Comrade Mapena, you are misleading the people. The minister was talking about the waiver for critical skills only, not gardeners and kitchen girls. He even gave an example that if the requirement is NQF level 5 and you have level 4, you can apply, or they need a certain document to be certified. in your country, you can ask your embassy or request a waiver on that document. In the 4 videos on waivers that we did before the minister had that interview, this is exactly what we're saying. I used to give an example of an English teacher, someone that has a degree, say from University of Zimbabwe, in English and teaches English in some farming school. I gave that as an example to say because that is not a critical skill. But assuming South African teachers do not want to teach in a remote area and the school is struggling to get an English teacher who teaches up to grade 12, you then apply for a waiver. The school will support you or your employer. This is what we have been explaining. We also gave examples of electrician. If you are not or your qualifications are lower than what is required in terms of the critical skill. So if you go back to all those videos, when we're explaining the waiver, this is why up to the time when the minister spoke, we've been saying, in our view, it's a waste of money to apply for something that will not be granted if you are a person of low skill, a domestic worker, a petrol attendant, and so forth. This has been our position until the minister spoke, and we clarified in the last video that we did. So it would be wrong, therefore, Comrade African Queen, that you accuse me of misleading people when evidence in video form is there on this YouTube channel. Exactly what you are saying is what we have been explaining. And in the last video, we then gave reasons why we think, based on what the minister had said in the interview, that you are now encouraging even people of low skill to apply for waivers. But if you check the 4 videos that we did, we never said so. And we were indeed raising the very issues that you are raising. So it would be incorrect for you to say this channel is misleading anyone. Comrade Luke Sean says, is there a deadline for a waiver application? I'm going to submit mine on 14th April. What was announced is that the deadline is the 30th of June, 2023. Whether 30th of June is the deadline to apply or you should have received your permit, we are not sure. What we know is that by the 1st of July, if you have not moved to another visa, you will certainly have challenges with your bank. You might wake up on the 1st of July having your bank account being frozen. So submit on the 14th, as we are saying. I'm not sure what document you are still collecting for you to wait up to the 14th. But if you have all the documents, I do not see the reason why you should wait, Comrade Luxon, for the 14th. Why not submit now? Comrade Ayanda Mdala says PhD in media studies, not critical skills. Yes, indeed, it is not critical skills. And I raised this in the context of saying, if a PhD holder in media studies does not qualify for a waiver, what more of a person of a low skill? This is what we've been saying. And then Comrade Ziboniso Ndlovu says, the minister said that they want to stop this issue of giving people a temporary document, which has been ZEP, ZEP, etc. forever. So after getting waived, will they give permanent documents? I have seen critical skills which they're giving are temporary documents. What the minister said is that, which he did not explain, but he was raising this in the context that the special permit is not governed by an act of parliament. All other visas or permits are governed by an act of parliament. You are, or an immigration act, let me say, immigration act. You open the Immigration Act of South Africa, you will not come across of a visa called the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit. It was issued under under special circumstances. So that's why the minister says it is temporal, it is not permanent. You will also know that the DZP was written not to be renewed, so was the ZSP, so was the ZEP. But if you are in the mainstream visa, because it is governed by the Immigration Act, you can renew if, say, your company still needs you. But this one, it was issued under special circumstances, and the Immigration Act and also the Citizenship Act gives minister or the Director General powers to document any person under special circumstances. Hence, these special permits were granted to the people of Zimbabwe and also granted to the people of Lesotho. So by moving to the mainstream visa, it means you are now moving out of a special dispensation to a visa that is governed by the Immigration Act. So it does not therefore mean that when you then get granted another visa, a mainstream visa, it translates to a permanent visa. No. You might be granted a 3-year work visa, which you have to renew. If conditions allow, you renew. If again they don't, you do not renew. So it is not automatic that you will then get what you call a permanent residence on the basis that the minister said he wants to stop, he wants everyone to have something which is permanent. That's not what he was saying. Let me get to the last 2 points which are raised, then we conclude. Mabena tells Zimbabweans that company must produce evidence that they advertise for 90 days on which national platforms. They must also give Department of Labor the chance to advertise and get South Africans. If they fail, they get Section 37 letter. Then they can apply for a waiver. Stop lying to this educated nation of yours. That is below the belt. You don't have a name on this sign as user. Okay, let me continue reading what you wrote. And they must ask why they should be waived. By the way, don't forget to tell them that the fake are fake stickers too. Yes, they are fake stickers, and we have spoken about this. But the rest of the issues that you are raising, this is what the minister said must be waived. And this is what in the 4 videos that I've referred to, that we have been talking about, that if you apply for a visa, your company should have advertised the job. And if there was no South African that applied or you are the best candidate, they need to, your company should provide the interview results, also provide the proof that the job was advertised in national newspapers. This is what we have been saying in the last 4 videos. So I am not lying. Just got back to all the videos. We've dealt with all these questions. Let's end with Comrade Maria Maholomolisane. Sorry for if I pronounced wrongly your name. You said, what is the purpose of critical skills visa if everyone can apply for a waiver and say he's a garden boy? That's not a question to be answered by us, Comrade Maria. It's a question that should be answered by those that have the authority to issue visas. As I've said, when the announcement was made or was announced when the decision not to renew was announced on the 25th of November 2021, we raised these concerns that you are raising, that in our understanding, special permits were issued under special circumstances. And the reason why they were issued in 2010 is that the holders or the beneficiaries of those permits in 2010 did not qualify to move to other visas. And in the other video, which we did when we were discussing domestic workers, and the conditions in which they were working and living under the apartheid regime until the democratic breakthrough in 1994, when a special arrangement was again made for people to return the South African documents. We spoke about these issues, that which we will speak to in the next video, that the reason why people were applying for South African IDs, it was because they could not be able to apply for general work permits. And the reason why in 2010 this arrangement was made is because the holders of such permits did not qualify for mainstream visas. So when the announcement was then made, on the 25th of November 2021, we raised these concerns that the majority will not be able to move. But again, as I've said, as I conclude, the minister the other day did clarify. So we hope that people will apply for waivers. Once your waiver is granted, you apply for a mainstream visa so that we beat the deadline. Otherwise, please keep your questions coming and comments in the comment section. We'll always find time to respond. Please circulate this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Comrade Patience Mbeba, I'm closing, says, I hear you loud and clear, Comrade Mabena. At this point in time, someone who hasn't started applying, I think there's any chance for them to get help, my opinion. No, thanks for your opinion, Comrade Patience Mbeba. Otherwise, comrades, have a good weekend, good sporting weekend. We're still recovering from a 5-2 defeat, we as Liverpool, by Real Madrid. Otherwise, goodbye, Comrade Cynthia Sibanda and the rest of you.